is Gail. Welcome to my channel tonight. Tonight is going to be a fun night, you all. I am so excited. I'm really looking forward to it because it's trivia night. Yay! We are going to talk about famous people who have disabilities, and some of these are really going to surprise you. So this is Disability Awareness Month, and we're doing this video to raise awareness, but also to, take some inspiration and motivation and see what we can learn from some of these people who have had disabilities. They have all overcome a tremendous amount. They're all famous. So let me just read what I've got in the description box down there. Famous people who have disabilities live stream, of course, tonight, 7:30. And we're doing the trivia night in recognition of Disability Pride Month. Now, that's a month set aside to celebrate our achievements as people with disabilities, to raise disability awareness and advocacy. And not all disabilities are visible. So tonight's list includes both hidden disabilities and non-hidden disabilities. And some of the inspirational people that we're going to talk about are Sojourner Truth, Tammy Duckworth, Harriet Tubman, Barbara Jordan, Bethany Hamilton, Judy Heumann, Lonnie St. John, Cher, Laura Bridgman, Lorenzo de Medici, known as Il Magnifico, St. Frances Xavier Cabrini, and we may talk about some other famous people with disabilities, including famous women who have disabilities. We're going to see what we can learn from their motivational stories of disabled people in history. We've gone back to from Mr. de Medici in the medieval times on up to current. And there may be more than one famous person with a disability that surprises you. So let's discover how these remarkable people overcame disabilities. And I have got multi-pages here that are being delivered hot off the press by hubby. Yay. Thank you. We have an Epson printer, and I'm pretty sure it hates me. We're having issues with that. Grandma Lynn is in the house. Hey, Grandma Lynn, welcome. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see you. I've been watching some of your streams on the replay, not live replay. So, yeah, I'm still in this. Sorry, you all. So the stretching noise that you just heard was my my arm brace. It's kind of crazy. And as you all know, my name is Gail. I want to welcome you all to my channel. And our motto here is be bodacious. And that means that you're not going to let life get in the way of living. So there are millions of people who have disabilities worldwide. As we get older, it's going to happen to all of us sooner or later. We're going to get older, we get infirm. Some of us are going to be on walkers. We may have trouble keeping up with things. We may forget. We may not, be able to do what we used to be able to do. At some point, some of us are going to lose our driver's license and things like that. And I'm not saying this to scare anyone, but this is the reality. And the reason I say that is not just to bring reality to the forefront, but to also hopefully make it seem less scary if you get into that situation, or if you meet somebody who's in that situation. So hopefully we'll do that. Now, I have service dog Pipsy, who you will see bouncing in and out some. Most likely, he doesn't always. Most of the time he does. And you want to come? Oh, John's got him. So most of the time he pops in and out like he almost did there. Busy Lady is in the house. Hey, Busy Lady. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Good to see Grandma Lynn. Good to see both of you. So that's kind of where I am personally, as a person who has a disability, as a disabled person, we have lots of challenges. And I hope this list will be interesting to you. I am going to post a link after the live stream. I have got all of these all ready to go in a Google Drive link. That's going to be posted after the live stream. So if you all want to use this to, like stump your friends and family, then you'll have that opportunity. So Busy says, good to see you too. I'm hanging up clothes and listening. Thank you so much, Busy Lady, for doing that. I appreciate it. So all of our trivia questions tonight are multiple choice. And like I said, they go from medieval period all the way up to current day. I try to get a good sampling just to kind of keep it easy, interesting for you all. I also wanted to highlight that people throughout history have been able to achieve even though they did have a disability. And I wanted to highlight that too. The reason I wanted to highlight that is because, like, for so many people, they feel like when they're diagnosed with a disability that it's the end of the world. And so their world kind of comes crashing in. And I think that's a very common, very normal reaction. You start to grieve for what you feel like you've lost. You go through that, and it's just kind of tough. So hopefully this will help with that. And we're going to go real quick. I know somebody's going to ask my disabilities. I have a head injury. I have epilepsy. I have a back problem. So I have a damaged nerve in my leg. So I don't walk that well. And I don't have good feeling in my foot. So I fall a lot. Temporarily right now, I have a broken hand because I also have osteoporosis. So, and of course, blood sugar, asthma, and things like that. So those are some of the things that I deal with. A lot of people, like I said, there's millions of us that have disabilities. Most of us that have a disability actually wind up having more than one, because just because you have one thing doesn't mean something else isn't going to come down the pipe. So, yeah, that's just how it goes. So, all right. Are we ready to dive in? And as you all, if you have the answers to these, go ahead, put them in the comments, in the chat rather, and I'll pull you up. Let's see. Valerie Reese is in the house. Hey, Valerie. How are you? Valerie's had company and all sorts of things going on. So, hey. All right, you all. I'm going to have to adjust this right quick because I caught it a minute ago and pulled the Velcro. Okay. So, thanks for bearing with me there. All right. Trivia question number 1. Which famous abolitionist and women's rights activist had a disabled hand? Was it A, Sojourner Truth, B, Harriet Tubman, C, Barbara Jordan, or D, Bonnie St. John? Let me read it again. Okay, you all. Trivia number 1. Which famous abolitionist and women's rights activist had a disabled hand? A, Sojourner Truth, B, Harriet Tubman, C, Barbara Jordan, or D, Bonnie St. John? Abolitionist and women's rights activist. And I can say former slave. Would that help? Busy Lady has no clue. Valerie says her grandson Gavin just went home. He spent the weekend. That is so cool. Okay, Busy Lady has no clue whatsoever. All right. It is A, Sojourner Truth. Okay. Busy lady chooses E. No E. Good try though. I'll give you an E for effort. Can we do that? So here's the thing. Sojourner Truth. Let me pull up her bio here. This woman, oh my gosh, she's a hero in many senses of the word, but she was absolutely amazing. Okay, so Sojourner Truth, born 1797 to 1883, had an injury that left her hand disabled. Her slave owner claimed when her slave owner bought her, it was kind of an indentured servant kind of thing in New York, and he was promising that she would be freed after a year. But she had this disabled hand, and the slave owner then claimed that she worked less than others and she owed him another year for freedom. But she earned it. She got her freedom. She walked away. Then she found out, friends helped her, and then she found out that her 5-year-old son had been sold from New York to Deep South Alabama. And by golly, she wasn't having it, thank God. She was able to go to court, and this black woman won against a white slave owner. It is like so amazing. And she got her son back. She got her son back. He was sold. He was 5 years old. So she knew that he might not come back. But it was illegal to do that in New York. So she got him back. And she went on to also become a Methodist lay pastor. So she just broke so many barriers. So anyway, she's one of those people that when I get to heaven, I want to talk to her, you know? Yes, you did. Busy lady says, I did make effort. You did. That would be cool. I hope your friend does come in. That would be really cool. Okay, number 2, this lady's more modern. Which U.S. senator and Iraqi war veteran is a double leg amputee? Okay, is it A, Tammy Duckworth, B, Judy Heumann, C, Bethany Hamilton, or D, Cher? And I'm going to read it again. Which U.S. senator and Iraqi war veteran is a double leg amputee? A, Tammy Duckworth, B, Judy Heumann, C, Bethany Hamilton, or D, Cher? I'm going to go ahead and tell you. This is A, Tammy Duckworth. Let me read her bio. Somehow or other, this printed on 2 sheets of paper, but oh well, 3 sheets. Okay, Tammy Duckworth, born 1968, is a double leg amputee due to combat injuries. She is an Iraqi war veteran, Purple Heart recipient, former Assistant Secretary to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, and senator. And she's got a whole long list of other achievements too. So when I post the link down below after the live stream, go pull it up and go look at all of these people, because I've got the links to their bios, and it's incredible. So despite having her disability, she was able to do all these things. So, okay. Valerie says she's really bad at trivia, That's why she avoids it on cruise ships. Okay. Okay. We'll give you a pass. Robert Lawler is in. Hi, Robert. Welcome. Welcome. Good to see you. Okay. Number 3. This one's going to be an easy one. So, Valerie, you don't have to stress on this one. You're going to get it. I promise you. What woman was able to be a conductor on the Underground Railroad despite a traumatic brain injury? The brain injury caused seizures and narcolepsy, and she led hundreds of people to freedom. Now, I know you all have to get this because there was only one conductor of the Underground Railroad, and she also had the traumatic brain injury. I'm going to go ahead and give you the 4 options, but you probably don't need them. And that is A, Barbara Jordan, B, Harriet Tubman, C, Sojourner Truth, or D, Bonnie St. John. I'm going to put these down again. A, Barbara Jordan, B, Harriet Tubman, C, Sojourner Truth, or D, Bonnie St. John. And the answer, of course, is B, Harriet Tubman. For the win, it is B. And if you all answered anything except B, we're going to tell your 7th grade history teacher, okay? D was Bonnie St. John. So this one was a B. Okay, next up, number 4. Which civil rights leader and congresswoman managed multiple sclerosis during her career? Was it A, Barbara Jordan, B, Judy Heumann, C, Cher, or D, Laura Bridgman? So reading that again, which civil rights leader and congresswoman managed multiple sclerosis during her career? A, Barbara Jordan, B, Judy Heumann, C, Cher, or D, Laura Bridgman? Okay. All right. And we're going to go with the answer is A. Robert Lawler got it. Great job, Robert. Yay! He got an A. Very, very good. Now let me go back and read just a little bit here about Harriet Tubman and about Barbara Jordan. Okay. So Harriet Tubman, of course, had the traumatic brain injury from a slave owner causing the seizures and narcolepsy. She was an escaped slave herself and went on to save hundreds of slaves on the Underground Railroad, and of course, staunch abolitionists there. And then we have Barbara Jordan, and she was born, her life years are 1936 to 1996. And in her later years, she lost much of her ability to walk to multiple sclerosis and had to use a wheelchair. Ms. Jordan was the first African American to graduate from Boston University Law School and only the 3rd African American licensed to practice law in Texas, and became the first African American woman to serve in the U.S. Congress. Now, she was also the first African American representative in Congress from the South since Reconstruction. Huge achievements, despite having the MS. So just incredible stuff these people are doing. Next one is a little more recent. Give me a second there. This one's a little more recent, a little more modern. Here we go. Which professional surfer lost her arm in a shark attack but returned to competition? Was it A, Bonnie St. John, B, Bethany Hamilton, C, Tammy Duckworth, or D, Judy Heumann? I'm going to read this again. Which professional surfer lost her arm in a shark attack but returned to competition? Bonnie St. John, A, B, Bethany Hamilton, C, Tammy Duckworth, or D, Judy Heumann? And we have B from Busy Lady, and that is a B for the win. Woo! Good job, Bethany. Good job, Busy Lady. You got Bethany. And she is a competitive surfer whose left arm was amputated due to a shark attack, and she was only 13 years old when it happened. 2 years later, she won her first national surfing title, and today is a motivational speaker. She teaches others how to surf, and she still surfs competitively herself. If you have seen the movie Soul Surfer, then that's about her life, and it's an incredible movie. I can't imagine being the parent of a 13-year-old who lost her arm and letting her back on a surfboard. There are tons of people who would have stopped that right there. Valerie says she heard the story, and she said she thinks they made a movie about it. They did. Valerie can't remember her name. That's fine. Hey, Busy Lady said she came to the surf shop she worked at in Florida. That's how I knew. LOL. I know nothing else. That's pretty amazing. So did you actually get to meet her, or did she just come in and leave? So does it say more about that? Like, inquiring minds. Okay, nosy minds. I'm just nosy. She's awesome. She, I think her parents too. I mean, I can't imagine. I really wrestle with whether or not I would let my 13-year-old back in the water. You don't want to take away something that they love, but on the other hand, like, I think as parents, we develop PTSD too. I'd really like to think I would let her back in the water and encourage that. Hope so. Aw, Busy Lady says no, she wasn't there because she worked at night. Darn. Oh, she thinks she made a speech. That would be on brand. She is known as a motivational speaker. Yeah, pretty awesome. I just, to be a kid and then to turn around, and 2 years later you win a national competition. Heck, I mean, really, just winning a national competition is awe-inspiring enough. But doing it with one arm, oh my gosh. Okay. Next up. Move my paper here. All right. So, also more current, who was a pioneering disability rights activist and polio survivor who helped create the ADA, ADA being the Americans with Disabilities Act. I mention that frequently on here because of having service dog Pipsy. That's the act that has made it possible for us to have service dogs and go places with them and have public access. So who did this? Who was a pioneering disability rights activist and polio survivor who helped create the ADA? Was it A, Judy Heumann, B, Bonnie St. John, C, Sojourner Truth, or D, Barbara Jordan? Give you a minute to think about that. I am going to go ahead and tell you this was a little bit of a harder one, but the answer is B. No, wrong button. A. The answer is A. Judy Heumann. And she was a polio survivor and wheelchair user. She earned the nickname the mother of the disability rights movement. And she was instrumental. She was huge in passing the Americans with Disabilities Act. But she also helped lead the 504 sit-in, and that helped lead to getting accommodations for students at school. It was a pivotal protest in disability history. Judy's story is featured in the Oscar-nominated documentary Crip Camp, A Disability Revolution. I have not seen that yet, but it's on my list. Aw, thank you for letting my ad play, though. I appreciate that. I didn't realize we were having ads during the stream. Thank you. And I apologize. Valerie says hers keeps going to ads. I've had 4 ads play since I've joined the chat. Good grief. Okay, I didn't realize that was happening. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can go in and change that. Hang on just a second, folks. Bear with me here. I don't want you all bothered by ads every other breath. I caught the other day I was uploading a video and it said to let YouTube pick it, and I did, but I didn't think that carried over to everything. But it might have. I mean, who knows these days? Well, let me see if I can fix that. Content. Live. Famous people, yes. Monetization, yes. Conservative. Okay, so it's still unbalanced, and it's letting YouTube insert mid-rolls for you, and it's still unbalanced. I'm going to switch it over to conservative, and that might change the ads. I don't know if it'll do it midstream or not. I don't know, but we'll see. And I've got it on conservative now instead of balanced. So, Busy Lady says, yep, 4, I understand it helps you. It does, and I appreciate it, but still, I don't know what balanced ads mean. Busy Lady says, I'm working on getting my watch hour and subs. YouTube is rough, LOL. I keep getting copyright strikes. Oh no. They're a pain. They're a pain. Valerie's saying, what are you getting strikes on at Busy Lady? Is it content or music? What seems to be getting you? Also, this Judy Heumann, I'm going to go ahead and, just toss it out there and let you all know. My dad had polio, and this is one of the reasons why I picked her, actually. My dad is also a hero to me. He had polio. He was born in 1929. He was older than my mother by a good bit, and he went to outdoors to play and apparently came in, wasn't feeling well, and the next morning, boom, he had polio. Right after that, he lost some of the use of his legs. And ironically enough, he wore a leg brace. But despite all of that, he was able to go to school and become a draftsman and work on things like the Saturn V rocket and some things like that. So despite being the son of an immigrant, legal immigrant, I will say, and having the polio, he was able to just overcome that. And let's see. Busy says music. I played a show last night and music played in a scene and they got me. Yeah, they will do that. I've learned the hard way too. I go through and I just X out those little clips and try to take that out, silence it. Incompetech.com with Kevin MacLeod is really, really solid as far as getting music from them, because he doesn't take any kind of, he doesn't claim copyright and there's no charge for it. And he's very upfront. Apparently one of his pet peeves is not being able to have free music. So it's not the modern, it's not like country or hip hop or anything like that. But it's got some peppy stuff, so you might want to check on it just in case. Sure, it's a learning curve. I'm still learning. Like these balanced ads. I don't know what that means. So I'm sorry, Valerie. Thank you. You will. It is Incompetech. Let me. Incompetech. There you go. And it's by Kevin MacLeod. He has got an amazing array of work on there. So check that out. You're welcome. I used the YouTube library a couple of times and I got zapped later on. Where it was all good when I originally did it. And then I got this message 6 months or a year later saying that they had switched and my time limit to have it for free had expired. And monetization from that video was now being split to them. So I just went back to Incompetech. But yeah, hope that helps. Where was I? Okay. Disability rights activist. Okay. 8. Which iconic singer and actress overcame dyslexia and dyscalculia? So let me explain. Dyslexia is where letters kind of just jumble up and kind of dance around, and it takes a lot extra to learn how to read. It really impacts kids. It's a lifelong thing. It's often hereditary, but it creates lots of problems reading. Dyscalculia, on the other hand, is where the math numbers jump and down and blend in and stuff like that. I have that. It's not fun. And if you type in, like, if I'm doing algebra and I get those letters and digits transposed and stuff, it's a real problem. So yeah, this iconic singer and actress overcame dyslexia and dyscalculia. And this kind of blew me away in a little bit, because how do you learn your lines? You have to read them, So like, how do you even do that? But anyway, your choices are A, Cher, B, Judy Heumann, C, Sojourner Truth, or D, Barbara Jordan. Which iconic singer and actress overcame dyslexia and dyscalculia? A, Cher, B, Judy Heumann, C, Sojourner Truth, or D, Barbara Jordan. It is Cher, letter A, Cher. So her bio is 1946 to now, diagnosed with dyslexia and dyscalculia, which made learning difficult in school. She went on to become an award-winning singer, actress, and pop culture icon known for her longevity and reinvention. So I just thought that was kind of cool, you know? And let's see. Let me go back to the chat here. Busy Lady says she used the YouTube Studio Music a few days ago, and oh dear. Yeah, just kind of watch. And if what they did with me was when they came back and said, you know, you're now sharing your monetization with the copyright holder of the music, I was able to, they told me like what section had it. So I was able to change that section of music while the video was live with no problem. So yeah, looks like, okay, everybody, oh, thank you. Busy Lady says, like and sub to this wonderful woman, folks. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all the likes and subs and watch time and you all being here and hanging out with me. You're amazing. And also she says, random, I've been wearing a pair of earrings you sent me and get compliments on them. Yay! Yay! I'm glad. See, that makes my night. Oh, good grief. Okay, so I switched it over to conservative. So you really shouldn't be getting all these ads, and I'm sorry. I will look at that more later. Maybe I can take it off. Maybe I can take it off about letting YouTube insert them. Do you have any to sell? Yes, I do. I can sell them. I've been making them left and right and donating to like women's shelters and stuff. But I still have plenty. Don't worry, I've got tons. We've gotten, oh, Busy Lady's having better luck on those. Good. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, for those of you who are tuning in on the replay on this and get to this point, I made handmade jewelry to sell to raise money for Service Dog Tipsy. That's how I got them. So my husband and I paid part. I raised part. It was just insane. And so people everywhere like sent beads for me to make the jewelry with. It was amazing. But I still have a lot of beads, findings, and all this stuff. So, yeah. And I've got a bunch made. So, yeah. And let's see. Okay. I can post some. If you know what kind you want, I can see if I have some made up. Otherwise, I can just make some pictures and post them like over on Facebook or somewhere. Hey, we have Miss Racy in the house. Hello, Miss Racy. She's cooking spaghetti and using diabetic-friendly noodles. Nice. So what kind of diabetic-friendly noodles do you have? What are you using? Okay, I do, but I don't know how to explain them. They have black beads and are very lightweight, which is what I need. Okay. Cool. I can say cool. I don't know. Let's we'll message back and forth over on Facebook after the stream and see if we can figure it out. Yes. Okay. Neat. I'm not familiar with that one. So, yeah. Sure. Yeah, Busy Lady, you can text pictures to me. That would probably be the easiest thing. That's fine too. Yeah. So, okay, you all, I'm going to give you a heads up warning on this one. This next one is a little bit tricky. And I'll give you a hint that the answer is not obvious. Okay? Who was the first deaf and blind person to ever receive formal education in the English-speaking world? Okay, I'll read it again. Who was the first deaf and blind person to receive formal education in the English-speaking world? Was it A, Helen Keller, B, Laura Bridgman, C, Sojourner Truth, or D, Bonnie St. John? We'll go through this again. Who was the first deaf-blind person to receive formal education in the English-speaking world? Was it A, Helen Keller, B, Laura Bridgman, C, Sojourner Truth, or D, Bonnie St. John? Miss Racy says, I don't know, quizzes, well, I understand. Busy Lady says A. No, it's not A. Not A. It is B. It is B, Laura Bridgman. But there is a tie-in, a loose tie-in to Helen Keller. Okay, so what happened is Laura Bridgman, years 1829 to 1889, was deaf and blind from scarlet fever at age 2. Decades before Helen Keller, okay? She was the first deaf-blind person to receive a formal education in the English-speaking world. Now, after Anne Sullivan arrived at the Perkins Institution for the Blind, they shared a cottage, and Laura Bridgman and Anne Sullivan became friends. And Anne Sullivan went on to become famous for teaching Helen Keller. So, yeah, Laura Bridgman. I did some research on who was the first person, just knowing in my bones that it was going to be Helen Keller. Like, I knew that. I just knew that's what the answer was going to be. Yeah, nope. Nope, Laura Bridgman. Would you all have ever gotten that? Is my prize brownie points? Brownie points and bragging rights. That's what you all win. Yeah. There you go. Miss Racy says, LOL, got it right, just guessing. There you go. Okay. So we're going to flip over to the Renaissance. Going over to the Renaissance period. Where did it go? Ow. Okay. So which Renaissance leader suffered from chronic gout, which affected his mobility? Okay. Was it Lorenzo de Medici, known as Il Magnifico, or B, that was A, or B, Saint Frances Xavier Cabrini, otherwise known as Mother Cabrini, C, Tammy Duckworth, or D, Harriet Tubman? Let me read it again. Which Renaissance leader suffered from chronic gout affecting his mobility? Was it A, Lorenzo de Medici, Il Magnifico, that's his whole name and title there, St. Frances Xavier Cabrini, otherwise known as Mother Cabrini, Tammy Duckworth, or Harriet Tubman? So A is Lorenzo, B is Saint Cabrini, C is Tammy Duckworth, and D is Harriet Tubman. And it is A. Valerie Reese has it. She does. She has it. There you go. So this is, let me go find his bio. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Okay. And I think I'm butchering his last name, and I really should know better. Lorenzo de Medici, or Medici, depending on how you want to pronounce it, Il Magnifico, 1449 to 1492, suffered from chronic gout, a painful condition that limited his mobility later in life. Despite his health struggles, he ruled Florence during the Italian Renaissance and was a renowned patron of the arts and humanism. He was contemporaries with Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. So, yeah. And I wanted to go back on this all the way to the medieval period to show that even people back then had disabilities that could really impact them in a profound way. If you can imagine leading Florence and not being able to walk well, that could be a problem. So this went back to the medieval period in the 1400s. Fun little tidbit of information also from the medieval period. This is not a trivia question. It's just a free fun thing to throw out. Joan of Arc there's a number of theories surrounding Joan of Arc, one of which is that she had epilepsy and some of her visions came through seizures. I thought that was interesting because I guess they didn't know like what to call seizures back then or whatever, but that doesn't change the fact that she had visions, you know? But yeah, Joan of Arc. And yes, he was. Let me go up here. Miss Racy says, I'm just guessing I'm not very well educated. Research online. That's what it is. Yeah, he was. He was. That's why I kind of gave the little hint out that he was the only guy on the list. There you go. Some guys have girl names. I know a guy named Shannon. Yeah. I have known a guy named Kim, K-I-M, and a guy named Stacy. Actually, I've known a couple of guys named Stacy and Tracy too. So it's like, names are not just weird these days. So, all right. So we're going to go over, I don't know, this last one. I have talked about her before on the channel because she is like an idol of mine. So that might give you a hint. Who was the first U.S. citizen to be canonized as a saint by the Roman Catholic Church, known for overcoming chronic illness and founding schools and hospitals. And the only reason that I tossed this out there is because I've talked about this woman before. Was it St. Frances Xavier Cabrini, Mother Cabrini, Barbara Jordan, Judy Heumann, or Sojourner Truth? Which was the first U.S. citizen canonized as a saint known for overcoming chronic illness and founding schools and hospitals? Of course, saints with the Roman Catholic Church. Was it Mother Cabrini, Barbara A. Mother Cabrini, B. Barbara Jordan, C. Judy Heumann, or D. Sojourner Truth? I'm sorry. Wow. Wow. Go up there. We'll give you a minute. Can't get enough. Oh, that's neat. Do you like it? Do you like YouTube Premium? My sister gave me your last slot. That's nice. And the answer is yes, it is A. Valerie got it. Valerie got it. It is A. Very good. So this woman is like, oh my gosh. She really is like one of my idols. Okay, here's the thing. 1850 to 19. This is Mother Cabrini's bio. If y'all ever have a chance to watch the movie Cabrini, oh my gosh, do so. Okay, I will give you a heads up that the parts where she is in Italy, those parts are spoken in Italian with English subtitles, so you can still follow along. Then when she comes over to the U.S., it switches to English, which I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, Mother Cabrini, 1850 to 1970, was born 2 months premature. Now, 32 weekers now have problems. Some of them don't make it, but yet in 1850, she survived being born 2 months premature, but she faced chronic illness her entire life. So she had some problems, and I'll get into that, but the chronic illness problems weren't necessarily related to preemiehood. That's what blows my mind. But anyway, she survived a near drowning as a child and became aquaphobic, which means you're phobic of water. So she survived that. And despite having this fear of water, despite that, she crossed the ocean more than 24 times. Now, this was a woman of faith, and she lived it, absolutely lived it. So she crossed the ocean nearly over 24 times, establishing the orphanages and the schools and so forth. And she was actually trained as a teacher before she became a nun. But as if that wasn't bad enough, because we know PTSD can be disabling, plus the phobia. But she also caught smallpox, malaria, and had endocarditis, and became partially paralyzed later in life, potentially from a stroke. So she had all those, like, once you get malaria, it doesn't go away. So I was just flabbergasted. And then, like I said, she became a teacher first, but she wanted to become a missionary. So she applied to admission for 2 groups. One was Daughters of the Sacred Heart at Arluno, and to the Canossian Sisters of Crema. But they both denied her application. So, and they cited health reasons as the reason to deny her application. So they were looking at her only as being a disabled person and not necessarily what God could do through those disabilities. But she said, okay, and guess what? She founded her own order. She was able to get approval, and she founded her own order. And in addition to health challenges, once she got over here in the U.S., she faced anti-Italianism, which was really bad at that time, and extreme poverty. But despite this, she went on to found hospitals and orphanages and numerous schools in the U.S. and nationwide. And that's why she became the first citizen to be canonized as a saint. And her story is told in the movie Cabrini, and it's just an amazing story. She also had to overcome some sexism. There was just so much that she had to overcome in addition to her disabilities. Like once she finally got approval, she wanted to go to China and start orphanages, and they wouldn't let her do it. She had to go to the Pope to even to get approval at all and work herself up the ladder to get to him. But they wouldn't let her go to the Orient. They told her, nope, you're going to go to America. And she's like, in the movie, she's like, I don't want to go to America. And he's like, yep, that's why I'm sending you. Basically, I mean, paraphrasing there. But, she came here and really her ministry just took off. Big, just gangbusters. But, she had a lot to overcome. The people who had money didn't want somebody who did not have money in their midst. So, like, they closed her down. Once she got there, she got to the port in New York after this sea crossing that she's been terrified to make. She gets to the port. She's in New York, and nobody meets her because they thought sure that as a woman, she would not come, or that she'd take one look at New York City at the time and go right back. But yeah, 5 Points neighborhood of New York City. Yeah, read about her online. Check out the movie. Also, Soul Surfer. I recommend that movie highly. I haven't seen the other one, Crip Camp, yet, but that's on my list to see. So yeah. Ms. Racy says, and with premium, I can watch some movies for free that people have to pay for their promo deals. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. Yeah, I want to go to Italy one day, hopefully, maybe. That would be amazing. I would love to go there. Just to get all the history. Oh my gosh, I would love that. Let's see. Oh, just bounced out here. What happened? Here we go. Okay. Yeah, she wants to go to Italy one day, which would be really cool. Banza is the name of the diabetic noodles. I misspelled it. Okay. But the pronunciation gives us, the hint on what to look for. But thank you. I'm the only one talking, LOL. Well, now, Busy Lady has been in and out, and Valerie is apparently getting slammed with ads. And we've had a couple of other people bounce kind of in and out. So, yeah. It's all right. And I don't know about you all, but did you notice all these new little icons over here in the chat? I can't decide if I like those or not, because it's nice to know who all's here and who all are the top fans. But it also kind of helps things bleed in together, So it's interesting. What do you all think about those? Or can you see them? I guess that's the other thing. Okay, Valerie just had another ad, and she's listening and knitting. Awesome. So yeah, that's my trivia questions for tonight, and I'll post the link down in the description box so y'all can check them out. I've also got the bios and stuff like that. It's a Google Drive link, so you'll have to have Google to access it, but it's free. So yeah, there you go. And this is Disability Pride Month. It has nothing to do with the other Pride. Disability Pride Month was started years ago, decades even before the current gay and lesbian Pride. So it's a month that's set aside, like I said earlier, to raise awareness about disabilities. So I think next week I'm going to talk about some of the obstacles that some of the disabled people, still have to overcome that you wouldn't think about. There are physical barriers, and there's some mental barriers too, both kind of within our own minds and within society's minds in general, that lead to all kinds of problems, from public access issues with your service dog or service dog denials, barriers to being able to get in and out of buildings. And it's just kind of things that I think most people take for granted. One of the things being, I was in a hospital building and they did a great job up until the point where I actually got into the building. And so one of the things that service dog Pipsy does for me is if I'm not able to balance or not feeling well, I can tell him to up touch, and he'll touch like the elevator buttons or the release button for the handicap plate and stuff like that. And we do the handicap plate, everything's fine. We go in and we get to the elevator and they have set a trash can right in front of the elevator button. And we're on the bottom floor, so the only direction to go is up. And I was like, oh, this is a hospital. You should know better. But anyway, so I think we're going to talk about some things like that next week. And if you all have any suggestions or there's something you want to see, drop it over in our Facebook group. Look for this logo or thumbnail and drop it in the Facebook group over there, and I will know to look for it. Okay. And Busy Lady says, I had another ad a few minutes ago. I'm sorry. I had it on balanced. I don't know what's up with that. And I don't know if there's anything I can do to fix it. I'll be honest with you, but I'll try. Oh, she can't find the earrings right now. That's okay. I know you're going to find them. I have faith in you. YouTube's gone mad with ads. Even my main channel gets ads, and I'm not monetized. This is ridiculous. Yeah. I'm sorry, Val. That's insane. So I don't know. I don't know if I can fix it or not. Because I would think with it being on conservative that it would be better than this. So I'm sorry about that. But I'll check into it. We'll see what happens. And hopefully can get it all worked out. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a great week. And I really appreciate you coming in and hanging out with me. And y'all go out. Be bodacious. Don't let life get in the way of living. Just have all the fun you can and just go for it. It could be. You may be right, Ms. Racy. Could be. It was good seeing you too. All you all, thank you so much for coming out. Have a great week, and I'll see you Sunday at 7:30, okay? Good night. Good night, you all.